Last year in October, I talked about Guillermo Del Toro's Frankenstein. Well, since then, we have gotten some new information and a new teaser trailer. Sup, internet? I'm Model Johnny, and while I'm working on part 2 of Superman, I wanted to make a quick updated video talking about Frankenstein. Frankenstein? So, call me a mad scientist as I stitch all this information together and bring the episode to life like a bolt of lightning. And let's talk about Frankenstein again.
You're watching Auto Johnny.
First, I want to start with the cast. But first, here's a clip from the last time I talked about Frankenstein's cast. First, we have Oscar Isaac as the mad scientist Victor Frankenstein. Then, we originally had Andrew Garfield as the monster, but Andrew had to drop out, and now we have Jacob Elordi taking over as the monster. Unfortunately, those are the only characters that I can actually confirm. The rest are either undisclosed or heavily speculated. For examples, actors like Felix Kramer, Lars Mikkelsen, David Bradley, and Kristen Covey are all undisclosed. However, Christoph Waltz is supposedly playing Dr. Pretorius, as this movie is not adapting the novel, but the sequel film, The Bride of Frankenstein, and Dr. Pretorius is a major character in that film. I'll talk about The Bride of Frankenstein once something's concrete, but all you need to know is that it's known for introducing the bride, which, by the way, Mia Goth is either playing the bride or Frankenstein's love interest. But either way, she is doing a body scan, so it might lead to her being the bride. Everyone all caught up? Good. Now let's talk about the cast. First of all, there's Mia Goth, who has been confirmed to be playing Elizabeth Bones, basically Victor's fiancée. Then there's Christoph Waltz, who is not playing Dr. Pretorius like I talked about in the last video, but is playing the new character called Harlander. Ralph Ineson playing Professor Krempa. Also, we got Felix Kramer as William, Lars Mikkelsen as Captain Anderson, David Bradley as Blind Man, Kristen Covey as Young Victor, and Charlie Dance in an undisclosed role. Soon, we will get our first official look on November 21st of 2024 through Variety Fair, showing Oscar Isaac as Victor Frankenstein, Jacob Elordi as the monster, and the lab, which is of course filled with dead bodies. Following that, on May 18th of 2025, we learned that the composer of the film will be Alexandre Desplat, who worked with Del Toro on movies like The Shape of Water and Pinocchio, with Desplat describing the film as saying, "So I think the music of Frankenstein will be something more lyrical and emotional. I'm not trying to write a horrific movie." With Del Toro on the same page saying that this is not a horror film, saying, "For the first time, I considered that. It's an emotional story for me. It is a personal story as anything. I'm asking a question about being a father, being a son. I'm not doing a horror movie, ever. I'm not trying to do that." Then on May 31st, during Netflix Tadam, we actually got the teaser trailer. Now, I made a short video talking about my initial impressions, so if you're curious, check that out in the notifications over my head. However, my opinions haven't really changed. I still love the trailer, and I think the look of the film looks great, so there's nothing much to add there. However, I would like to expand on the idea that I mentioned at the tail end of the short, how basically the monster may not be as clear-cut as you think, and considering that the monster has been often portrayed as very sympathetic, and all this talk about father to son in that interview, I wonder if the monster will be very human and maybe Victor Frankenstein might be the real monster. At least that's what I think from this first look. Either way, Frankenstein will come to life sometime in November of 2025. Told you this will be a short one. So what do you think of Frankenstein? And if you have any theories about this film, drop them down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell for notifications. And until next time, I'm Auto Johnny and end transmission.